it's Zach. Welcome back to the Heroverse. And guys, tonight was Superman and Lois, Season 2, Episode 8, called Into Oblivion. Guys, this was another crazy episode of Superman and Lois, literally. We start off this episode with Natalie, on her universe, and it's her trying to follow John Henry, while John Henry, I guess, uses the red solar flare to kill that version of Superman on their universe. And apparently that red solar flare is the thing that opened up the portal to go into our universe with our Superman. So I thought that was very interesting, is that we kind of know now what is the thing that really sent John Henry to our universe. It was the red kryptonite solar. It was like the red solar flare. So that was what was interesting to me, is that was the thing that opened it up. I hope we go a little bit more into how that was possible, how that was really possible for that to happen, except we kind of know now. It probably just wasn't just the red solar flare. It was probably the technology in the ship and the amount of energy from the red solar flare that took out, at least I think, we don't know if it killed that version of Superman that was terrorizing that universe's world. We don't know that yet, but I just thought that was interesting, is that we got to see how Natalie followed John Henry to get to that universe, but she was put in stasis for I forget how many months or whatever. I think 6 months she was put in stasis, before they got a signal, before she was able to really get to her father. And they weren't even sure, I guess the AI, I guess, got the pinging from his suit, but wasn't quite sure if he was even alive. So she's and also the trip, I guess, was unsafe for her to take, but she pretty much figured that, even if my dad's not alive there, and I know my mom's not alive, it's worth me trying to get to my dad, regardless of the cost of if the travel's not safe or not, me trying to get there, or even, even if there's even a slight chance my father's alive, I'm going to take that chance. So she did that, and I just thought that was cool that we got to see it from her angle of us seeing, John Henry take on that Superman, the red solar flare opening up that portal to our universe, and her not being able to really get there. She was kind of in between universes, and she was in stasis for all that time before they could really get a ping for her to actually get to her father. So I thought that was really cool that we saw it from her eyes, and we really see from, her perspective of that, she hasn't forgiven Clark for, her father being put in the hospital and him having all his brain injuries and stuff. And, he had to be put on, on the machines just so he could breathe. The machines were keeping him alive, they were helping him breathe until he was able to breathe on his own again. And we end up finding out in this episode, he's having, since, him, having a whole bunch of, essentially a really bad concussion, he essentially lost some of his memory, and it's going to take him a minute to get it back. I mean, he went through surgery, it's been a couple of weeks or whatever, but he'll get back his memory at some point, at least, that's what the doctor thinks. But, as of right now, he's struggling to remember some things. I mean, hell, when Lois and Clark walked in, he thought that was his wife, Lois, and, Natalie's that's not mom, or whatever, that's not mom, and, he's yeah, I know, he kind of, he was upset for a minute, he's yeah, I know, so it's clearly he is, having some struggle remembering things, but, like I said, the surgery went successful. He will slightly, it'll take some time for him to, learn for what he forgot, but he will eventually get his memory back, from what I understand about what's going on. But yeah, Natalie just doesn't forgive the fact of everybody thinks, that John knows that that's not the same Superman that killed his mother and terrorized their universe, but she can't realize the fact that she is having a hard time turning off the fact of that. I still, when I look at you, I think you're that, you're that person that killed my mother. I think you're that person that, terrorized my universe. I feel that, and I'm afraid that, when my dad's around you, he's gonna die how my mother died, and she just cannot, ignore that feeling that she has for Clark, even though, he's not that same person, he's not the same Superman that was on her planet, and she is, I feel I thought that wasn't a problem for her, but clearly she still has that problem, and it really hit her. I mean, she was starting to kind of, understand that that's not the same, Superman as her planet, but ever since her father got hurt, she can't, get rid of the fact that, like, it feels too much like how my mother died, that, you are you are that person, what I mean, I can't ignore, that you look too much like the person that, killed my mom and, terrorized my universe. So that's going to take some time for her to, like, want to actually warm up to Clark and see that Clark is actually a good dude, and see how that our Superman is a good dude. I mean, but she's still grieving at the fact of that, Superman and, was supposed to protect her father. Her father should never even had to even go out there to put his life on the line. And, she, like, told, Clark to promise to keep him safe, and he got hurt. Like, I mean, the promise was that, John that made to Natalie is that he would stay out of getting in the steel suit again, but he had to do it to protect Superman, and that's what put him in harm's way, is that it was his choice, not, Clark's choice, about him going out in the field and trying to stop Bizarro from hurting him. I mean, that was his choice, but Natalie doesn't see it that way, and she can't, she can't ignore the fact of that she just feels like the two Supermans are too similar. And, and feels like, it's going to take her some time to, really warm up and to really get to know Clark, and to know that he's not the same dude as the same person that was on her Earth. So I can't wait to see that, play out, because, Clark gives her some keys so they can have their own place. She doesn't want to force Natalie to try to get to know him and to try to get comfortable with him on the farm. She's like, he says, I'm going to give you these keys. My friend's out of town. You guys can go live there. I want you to feel comfortable on your own, and to really feel that you be the one to accept, to want to get to know me. I don't want to force you to get to know me. And I really felt that was very nice of Clark to really show that, I'm not going to force you to get to know me. I want you to do that on your own. And I really feel like that shows, Natalie, that, he's not the same, Clark, and knowing, of course, by her knowing that it's Clark, she knows that is Clark is Superman, that you're not the same Superman that was on my Earth or whatever. It's going to take me a minute to, get used to you and to separate the good from the bad, that you're not that same Superman, you're not that same person that hurt my mother. So I'm just excited to see how that's going to go, and how she's going to warm up to Clark and want to get to actually know this version of Clark, and and know that he's a good dude, and that Superman on this Earth is clearly a good dude. Not just the fact of, like, she's judging the fact of, my dad got hurt, so you're no different than that other Superman, but the fact of, like, she'll learn that, it wasn't his fault on what happened to John, and he feels responsible for, again, John Henry's injuries. He feels responsible, and he says that to Lois after they're done at the hospital. And he even promises them that, he'll, that he was going to pick them up. But he's dealing with so much right now between, him trying to find Anderson and working with Sam trying to find Anderson, because Sam is now taking over the DOD, for right now, to try to find Anderson, because that he feels like Anderson is his responsibility, because he is the one that put Anderson in charge of when Sam, left the DOD and retired. So he feels like he is responsible for Anderson's actions. And, that one person that we saw a while ago that, yelled at Anderson for, losing the trust with Superman. She pretty much, told Sam to tell Superman that she is sorry for, the whole, him, being, called out for, betraying everybody, or called out for treason or whatever. Like, she wanted to say, like, the charges are dropped and everything is fine now. And knowing that they just want to get Anderson under lock and key, but they find out that Anderson took that I forget what it's called, really, the necklace that pretty much, I guess, is the necklace that we end up finding out in this episode the necklace is able to transfer them into the inverse universe, because they need that necklace to get into the inverse universe. And we get and a little bit more about the inverse universe is that, when we're done with the whole Natalie things in the beginning of this episode, we get to Anderson talking, he's in his inverse body in that other universe, talking to the other inverse Allie Alston, which I thought was very interesting. And he's like, oh my God, you were right about, ascending and everything, and that I had a better life on that in this other inverse universe, and I want to ascend and stuff, and pretty much, knowing that he has power over there, and he wants to have power, because she's promising everybody that if we connect with our inverse selves, we can become gods. And essentially, he ends up betraying Allie, taking the necklace to this other version of Allie and leaving the other Allie there. At least that's what I'm understanding of what happened. And when everybody was ascending, they were all like disintegrating. I think they all died. I'm not quite sure exactly. Like if because Allie's like this isn't what's supposed to happen. Meaning I don't think she knew that people were gonna die because it looked like people were dying. I don't know, and as we all know right now, no one knows if they survived when they ascended. No one knows. I don't think Allie even knows. I don't even think, clearly Sam doesn't know, and Lois doesn't know because they think that one of the people in those hazmat suits was Lucy, because Lucy ends up giving, Sam and Lois a text saying, oh, I'm sick and tired of not being heard and blah, 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 blah. And, Lois is like, this sounds like goodbyes. And knowing that Chrissy got an invite to Allie's, Chrissy got an invite to do a story on Allie's, on Allie's, like the ascending thing, and promising Chrissy that this will be the biggest story ever, and and that's what Lois knows. Lois knows that Chrissy is going to be going to get this big story from Allie, but of course, Lois is like, you need to be safe. If there's anything that goes wrong, you need to get out of there. Pretty much, Chrissy is putting on a front, making it sound like she's into everything that's going on, but she literally almost died if it wasn't for Clark knowing that the DOD agents that were protecting the mines were taken out by Anderson. If Sam didn't not get that call going through, that Clark would have never have known that they were at the mines trying to get to the inverse universe, and he wouldn't have gotten there in time to save Chrissy, because as of right now he thinks that, oh my god, Lucy went through, people started going through before I even got here. And that one moment between Chrissy when she gets saved by, Superman, she's like, are you the only one, or did you only save us two? Are we the only ones that you saved? And that was really when she said that, I was like, oh, damn, is she going to be angry at you that you weren't here in time? I mean, he's already going up against a lot of things as it is, but, that would even make Clark feel even worse that, I failed, John Henry, and now I failed these people that got sent here, and I don't even know if they're alive. So no one even knows if they're alive in the inverse universe. I don't even think our Allie even knows if they survived or not, because she's like, that's not what's supposed to happen, meaning oh my god, what have I done almost situation. But she was all happy almost, making it sound like everything was fine when Sam, and because Clark, Superman doesn't just save Allie or save Chrissy, he saves Allie and somebody else, and they get Allie, and because Allie, I guess, wasn't able to, Anderson took the necklace from Allie and she didn't ascend, so he was able to take Allie and and put her in the DOD, and Sam is trying to get information, and so is Lois, to try to find out if Lucy if she went through and if she died, because again, they don't know if people survived or not, because the way Chrissy is making it sound is people, it was very disturbing, it was very, it was just a very scary experience, and it sounded like people were dying, and that's why Lucy and or that's why Sam and Lois are kind of concerned that, oh my god, did Lucy die? And they're trying to get that information from Allie, but Allie's all like, oh, you only care about one name, and it's your daughter, even though you failed her, and even though you also failed Anderson, he looked up to you as a father, and also you failed, and that's why you also lost your wife, you failed her as well, and making it pretty much getting into his head, because she's a manipulator. She gets into people's heads saying, she's like, oh, I can make you feel whole if you want to ascend and stuff, pretty much trying to get people into her cult. That's what she likes to do, is to get more followers, and wants to get people, she gets broken people, or tries to make people feel like they're broken, to manipulate them, to make them ascend, which again, I feel like she doesn't even understand what ascending even means, because she looked like she was oddly disturbed when she's like, that's not supposed to happen. So I feel like this other Allie maybe knows more than this Allie knows about ascending, but I feel like in this way she still feels confident in the whole ascending thing and her beliefs of ascending, even though I feel like she doesn't know much about anything that's going on. I think this other Allie might be manipulating our Allie, thinking, oh, if you ascend, if you come here, you guys will become one and you'll become gods and all that stuff. I feel like that's not exactly what happens, because it looks like those people died, the people that Clark didn't save in time. He was only able, again, to save Allie and Chrissy. So this whole entire episode, Lois and Sam are thinking, oh my god, Sam's thinking, oh my god, I failed, you guys, I knew when, when your mother left that we all weren't going to be the same again. I knew that I, like, wouldn't be enough for you guys. And that really made me upset that Sam thought that way because Allie got into his head. And it really made me sad that, they're worried that, Lucy might be dead. I honestly thought Lucy walked through because they just couldn't get a hold of her. And I was like, oh my God, I don't know, is she dead, or the people that Ascend die over there? I didn't quite know, but by the looks of it, it looked like they died. I don't know if that's true or not. We'll learn more about the whole inverse world hopefully soon, and to know if actually people survive when they go through that portal, because I don't know if they do or not. And even if they do survive when they get over there, I'm assuming they merge with their shadow selves, but what happens when you merge with your shadow selves? You say you become a god, but what does that mean? Do you guys connect the worlds together? Can you guys just cross over without having the necklace? I'm very confused about all that. I don't know where this is exactly going, but all I know is that I feel like there's still a lot of interesting things here on the fact that Allie just looked very like, oh my God, that's not what's supposed to happen. Like that look on her face. So I don't know if she's being lied to by this other Allie, and I don't know what Anderson's plan is, that he took the necklace and went over. Like, what is his plan when he merges with this other version of himself? Like, what does that mean? What will happen? I don't know. So that's going to be very interesting to see what happens with that going forward. But going on with Jordan and Sarah, that I don't know, with Sarah wanting to talk to Jordan before they go to school, before they meet up, before class, because, before all that happens, we see Sarah getting picked up, to go for an early breakfast with Kyle, which I want to get into that. I feel like that's the least interesting part, is the whole Kyle and Lana, like, what was going on with them in this episode. I just didn't care for it, because, like, I felt like they kept coming back to Kyle and Lana, and them doing, like, and, Kyle giving Lana advice about running for mayor, even though I feel like Lana doesn't really need his advice. But, I don't even know if I'll even talk about that, because I didn't really care for it in this episode. But, she goes for an early breakfast with, Kyle, because, Sarah wants, her father and her mother in her life, so she wants them to do the co-parenting thing, and wants Kyle in her life. So, she wants to talk to Jordan before class, and she ends up confessing to Jordan that, she went to Aubrey to talk to Aubrey about, the whole, her parents getting pretty much, splitting up, and them pretty much getting a divorce and things, and, or possibly getting a divorce, and, she, only went to talk to Aubrey because Aubrey's the one that had experience with her parents splitting up. So, the fact that, she had the nerve to tell Jordan about that, saying, oh, I went to somebody else that really understands what I'm going through, just, and it's not only that, she went to Aubrey, to a person that that kind of has an understanding of, her parents splitting up. It's the fact that, you have a boyfriend and you went to somebody else to confide in, and the fact that you're telling Jordan he doesn't understand how you're feeling because his parents aren't divorced or aren't split up is unfair to Jordan. You're supposed to go to your boyfriend and confide to him and talk to him, but instead you're going, it's not only that, it would be okay, kind of, I guess, in a way, almost, that, I don't know, it's not okay, because again, you're in a relationship, you need to, it's not only, just about, you need to confide in the person that you're in a relationship with. You need to. That's a part of making a relationship work. But it's also the fact that, you cheated on Jordan with Aubrey. So the fact that you're just making Jordan feel more shitty, that you didn't just go to somebody that you felt like would understand what you're going through. You went to somebody that you cheated on your boyfriend with. And I felt like when you told Jordan that, it kind of made Jordan feel bad. And also the fact that you're kind of forcing Jordan to be friends with Aubrey and to and to pretty much kind of have a co-relationship, she's also a part of your relationship and stuff. I feel like, almost making it sound like you want Aubrey always there in your relationship while you're being with Jordan. It's like you're really treading on thin ice, because again, you cheated on Jordan with this person, you know what I mean? And you're also confiding in Aubrey more than you're confiding in Jordan. So it's like you're wanting problems, and the fact that you're kind of saying and Jordan's I don't think that's a good idea. I don't really want to meet Aubrey. It's awkward, especially after she kissed you and stuff. It's awkward. And she's like, I want you both in my lives. It's like, but you can't force him to do that. I mean, how else do you expect him to feel that you're now telling him that you can find it in somebody else that and you're telling him he wouldn't understand just because his parents aren't split up, even though he would understand, because I mean, he's gonna listen to you and he's gonna give his opinion on what you should do. It's just, I just feel like that was kind of rude of her to do that. So I don't know how I feel about Sarah right now. I just feel like that was kind of messed up that you told him that you confided in somebody else, but yeah, it's the same person that you kind of cheated on him with. I just feel bad for Jordan, and I don't know how things will go because he promised her like, oh yeah, I'll meet her, because he kind of like was hearing down the hall. He ends up finding out that, Candace is the one that was supplying the X-Kryptonite, and, like, he was too busy paying attention to Candace because we end up seeing this like, drug dealer or somebody that's coming in asking, or pretty much telling Candace that he wants his money or something or all that for, like, I guess for the XK, or maybe he's the one supplying it to her. I don't know. Maybe it's, like, her partner and he wants the money or something. I couldn't really tell what was going on. And, he's like, and then Sarah's like, Jordan, he's like, oh, yeah, I'll meet her, okay, yeah, and she's like, okay, because he just tried to say, okay, I'll meet you, I'm trying to, like, focus on something else here that's a little bit more important, to get, to figure out, like, why my brother is lying and stuff. So that one moment where, like, he figures out that, it's Candace the one that's supplying, I was very happy, because I was like, dude, it's like, I keep getting angry at Jonathan from keeping the secret from Jordan, and keeping the secret, from his parents, that Candace is the one that's supplying the XK. A lot of things are happening to Jonathan right now because he is keeping it, because he is taking the fall for Candace, even though Candace, I would say, isn't even a good girlfriend, because she is supplying drugs that could kill people just to make her father, money so they can, have a good living. And I understand, like, they're having, money problems, but it's like the fact that you're putting kids' lives in danger, and the fact that, like, if you were a really good girlfriend, and if you really did love Jonathan, even because that's what she says in this episode, is that, she really loves Jonathan. It's like, if you really loved him, you would confess to what you did wrong. If you really love somebody, instead of having them take the fall for you and getting expelled from school, and pretty much, getting the football team, they had to forfeit all their wins, and they had to end their football season short, because they can't play if they don't know who is taking the drugs on the team. So not only the fact of, like, not only Jonathan took the blame for Candace, but also it doesn't just affect Jonathan now, it affects the football team and their wins that they made, and all the hard work that they did for that season, and them having to forfeit those wins, and then them having to cut their season short, all because of Jonathan wanting to protect a so-called good girlfriend that, again, would let him take the blame, and again, a girlfriend that, again, was supplying drugs that possibly could kill people. It's like, I just don't like that Jonathan is willing to sacrifice everything he's worked hard for, and his new life in Smallville, all for a girl he barely knows. And I just, when even Candace said, I love you, I was like, I don't feel it that much, because clearly she doesn't, if she's letting you take the fall for, like, what she's doing wrong. I mean, if you wanted you and your dad to, have money, get a job, go do something that isn't selling drugs that could kill people, or illegal drugs, or anything at the matter, whether it be X-Kryptonite or drugs in general. I hated that. I was like, that's just not the way to go. So I don't know. That really annoys me that he keeps lying, and especially because, like, Clark is getting pissed, and Jonathan is seeing that, oh my god, it's not like by the way, Clark is acting, is that, he's kind of like, he's disappointed. He's really disappointed in Jonathan, and Jonathan's making it sound like, it sounds Dad doesn't even, like, really like me right now, or that's what he pretty much said in this episode. He's like, it seems like he wants nothing to do with me. He's like, he's ashamed of me and all that stuff. And it's the fact of, like, he is, because you're lying for somebody that clearly doesn't love you, clearly, and lying for somebody that clearly, is doing things wrong. You know what I mean? So I just don't like that he's putting everything. He's making everybody's lives get flipped upside down. It's not just, what Jonathan is going through. It's what Lois and Clark are going through in the respect of the town. I mean, it's also Clark's rep of, like, his son got caught with drugs, especially a drug that was, connected to an alien invasion. And you know what I mean? Or an alien, takeover. You know what I mean? And like really caused the town a lot of trauma and death and stuff. So what I mean, like, you know what I mean? So it's like it's his rep, it's Lois's rep, and they just Lois just earned her rep around Smallville. It's Jordan's rep. I mean, no kid wants to be even surrounded by any of them right now because of or no kid wants to be surrounded or the parents are concerned and don't want Jonathan around any of their kids. Like it's affecting not just Jonathan, it's affecting everybody. You know what I mean? That has the Kent, that last name. So I just hope that Jonathan realizes it's not worth it, but I feel like that's not what's going to happen. And he gets his punishment is he has to work at I forget what the name of like the convenience store is. It's called like I wrote it down. It was a very interesting convenience store. I'm trying to figure out what the name of the convenience store was. I wrote it down. What was it? Britt and Dunn's. It's called Britt and Dunn's, and it's the same girl that is friends with Sarah that said Jonathan was cute. And I was like, ooh, that's a more respectable girl that you should be dating, Jonathan, not a girl that is selling drugs and is letting you take the blame and letting you get expelled from school and is letting everybody think that you're a drug dealer and that you're dangerous to be around. So that just really annoys me, that plot line with him and Candace. But I just want to say that moment where like Jordan ends up saving Candace and Jonathan because Jordan hears Jonathan and Candace getting attacked by that one dude that again threatened Candace and wants money from Candace. That was a really cool fight when that one dude took the XK, ended up trying to take Candace and trying to get the money from her and trying to take out Jonathan. It was cool when Jordan showed up with his hoodie on, trying to stay in the shadows. It reminded me a lot of Smallville when Clark is turning to actually hone his abilities and actually saving people around Smallville and trying to stay in the shadows and trying not to get caught. I feel like we're really getting the Clark Kent, story of how he became Superman, but through Jordan. And I like that because, it's kind of like a retelling, but it's Jordan's perspective and it's his story on how he's going to become, and learn how to take responsibility like his father. And I like how we're seeing that. It's like he's starting to learn that sometimes, saving people is more important. Having a higher calling is more important than having a relationship because, he did promise Sarah to meet, I already forget her name, to meet Aubrey. And he didn't show up because he was too busy saving Jonathan and Candace from that dude. So I really like that. Like, he's kind of like, it reminded me so much of Smallville. And like what Clark has, and realizing, and Clark realizing, sometimes there's always a higher calling that I need to, attend to, even though I want to have a life and I want to have a relationship. Sometimes things are more important. And I mean, of course he gets kind of irritated at Jonathan, the fact that he couldn't show up. But I mean, he's not really that angry because he never really wanted to go to begin with. Because he just doesn't like the fact that like Sarah is confiding in Aubrey more than she's confiding in Jordan. So then, I mean, at the end of the day, he's like kind of like okay with it in a way. And he's like, I really can't, he's like, I couldn't really, like, even if I wanted to go, I couldn't show up like this because he's all bruised up and he's not healing as fast because he's still, I feel like, honing his powers. He's still like, they're still manifesting slowly. He's starting to learn things. I feel like as he gets older, he'll be able to heal faster. Also, I feel like it's also because he's part human, so that's why his healing might take a little bit more time. But I'm just interested to see him really hone in on him becoming a superhero more in seasons to come, because I already got confirmed, I think today, if not, at least that's what I heard today, even though I thought I heard a while ago that, Superman and Lois got confirmed for season 3, it got confirmed literally today, officially, that I think it did get confirmed for season 3. So I'm really excited, to, again, I knew it was going to get confirmed for a season 3, because how could this masterpiece of a show not get confirmed for a season 3? But it did, so I'm really happy to see it. We'll even see more going into next season of him really taking the responsibility of, him having his abilities and knowing that there's always a higher calling that he has to attend to, like his dad. I really like how we're starting to see him use his abilities for good, like his dad does. So I thought that was really cool. But yeah, and also the fact of we think Lucy ends up showing up and pretty much, makes it sound like, she realized that Allie was crazy and she was getting manipulated. She's making it sound like, she finally realized that, but she ends up drugging Sam at the end of this episode. And I was like, oh my God, this is kind of reminiscent of like, how Allie drugged, Chrissy to make her ascend. I was like, is she going to drug Sam to make him ascend? So kind of like, Lucy wants her father to be on her side, not Lois's side, and feeling like, oh, if I can make my father ascend, I can get him to be on my side and see what I see. So I feel like maybe is Sam going to ascend? I don't know. Is that what she was doing? But I don't think so. I feel like she just drugged him. I feel like she doesn't have the capabilities to do the whole letting people see, letting people almost die and then bringing them back, because you can't do that without the necklace. So I don't think that's what she was doing, trying to make him ascend. I think she just tried knocking him out so she could get Candace out of the DOD, because she was the failsafe. If Allie didn't ascend, she was that failsafe to try to get her out of the DOD, knowing that if I don't ascend, I'm gonna get captured by the DOD, and I need you. To get, your father's card to get me out of the DOD and break me out. So that was actually a really great plan by Allie. It's like she's always 10 steps ahead of everybody. So she's just a great villain, is that, she doesn't really need to physically hurt people, but she manipulates people. And that's one of the greatest, tools a villain can have, is that if they can just manipulate people without physically hurting people. So I love her. I love her as a villain. It's so just different and unique, and I just love this villain. But I'm just excited to see what happens in next week's episode, because it looks like Clark is going to go missing. Because when that one moment where Lois is rifling through Lucy's place and Clark I guess gets notified or hears that somebody broke into Lucy's place looking for stuff. Somebody's in Lucy's apartment. He ends up rushing there, finding out Lois is rifling through there, trying to find out some information, and she just can't come to the fact of Lucy might be dead, she might be gone. And, she ends up saying that, to Clark, why do people always keep leaving me? And, Clark said, I'm not going anywhere. I'll always be here. And I'm like, oh, you're going to go somewhere. Something's going to happen to you. And that's what happens in next week's episode. He ends up disappearing when something happens in Metropolis. And we end up seeing Jordan actually flying. We see him levitating off the ground, which makes me realize that this is the moment that this is going to make his powers fully develop, I feel like, especially because I feel like flight's the only thing he really needs to develop now, because he has the cold breath, he has the ocular blast, he has the strength, and I feel like the only thing he really needs to hone now is the flight. So, and that's what we're seeing in next week's episode, so I'm super excited to see him fly in next week's episode, and really see him take over for his father, because he even says to Lois, he's like, I have he's like, the world needs me right now. And, Lois it seems like she's having a hard time, them thinking that they need to step up while Clark is missing. So I really do. She's like, my boys think that they're men and they need to put themselves in danger because Clark is gone. And I'm excited to see that, and that was what Sam was preparing him for, Jordan for, is that, your father might need help. You need to step up, and, you need to be the second line of defense if your father goes missing or something happens to your father and he needs help. You need to be the one to help your father. And I mean, Jordan is the one that asked Sam to, so he could, if something were to happen to, Clark, he would be able to step up. And that's exactly what's happening in next week's episode. And I'm just super excited to see him, finally, pretty much embrace his calling to be a hero. So I just can't wait to see that in next week's episode, and I can't wait to see what's going to happen, with, Lucy breaking out Allie. I don't know what really their plan is, because it seems like they can't go to the inverse world without that necklace. At least that's what I understand. They needed the necklace to get them through, hence how Bizarro got over to our universe, is through that necklace. So we know that there's a portal there, but I don't think you can get over there without the necklace being present. At least that's what I think. So I'm just excited to see how, what is Allie's next plan, since the fact of that her plan didn't go the way she thought, and Anderson took the necklace and betrayed her. So I'm just interested to see what's going to happen going forward in the season. I'm excited to see, if they do get to the inverse world, and if those people are alive and they do merge with their shadow selves, how them merging with their shadow selves, how does that make them become a god? what is actually the threat here of when they do ascend and they do merge with their shadow selves. What is the threat? Like, what will happen? What is the thing that Allie wants to happen? We don't know yet, and I'm excited to see what the aftermath will be if those people did survive and they are merged with their shadow selves. But all in all, this was just a really good episode. Besides, again, I just didn't like the Kyle and Lana thing. I feel like Lana didn't need to hear Kyle, like, give his advice about, like, her running for mayor, saying, like, oh, the Dean, I think that's his name, Dean something, like the mayor or whatever his name is, pretty much bringing up their separation, or bringing up Lana's separation to Kyle and family values and everything, like he will do. He'll do below the belt stuff so he can become mayor again. Lana should have expected that. She knows this dude likes to play foul play when it comes to, like, he's gonna run for mayor dirty. Like, she knows that. So hearing Kyle say, oh, that's, you have to just answer those questions, it's like, that's what Lana should already know. I just don't know. I feel like in the way that writing didn't make sense to me, because I feel like Lana knows that. But of course, these writers are trying to make it so Lana and Kyle get back together. We know it's going to happen at some point. But I feel like also Lana kind of realized that, she finally came to terms with the fact of, like, realizing when, when Kyle told Lana, like, oh, I'm like, when Lana said, oh, I forgot to pick up Sophie. Oh, tell the people at the firehouse I said hi. He's like, I don't live at the firehouse anymore. I got my own apartment. And she kind of realized, oh my God, is this really happening? Like, are we really just gonna co-parent and we're not gonna try to work out our marriage? It kind of like she came to terms with the fact that might be true. Their marriage might not, they might not work out their marriage. They might just co-parent. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with them, but I feel like they're just going to get together back at some point. I feel like that's what's going to happen. It would just be interesting if they didn't get back together and work out their marriage and they just co-parent and they just become friends. I don't know what's going to happen. I feel like it's the usual, like, stereotypical writing of, like, oh, they could just get back together. I don't know if that's the route they're going to take. That's just the simple route of, oh, they're going to get back together. I don't know if they're going to go that route. I just know that I just did not care for that plot of today's episode. I'm not really caring for it, especially with all the bigger things that were happening in this episode. It's like anytime we got back to Kyle and Lana, I'm like, okay, I just kind of don't care. It's not saying I hate it, but it's like I just don't care when there's just such a bigger story going on right now and such bigger, more important things going on right now in the story. But yeah, guys, just another great episode of Superman and Lois. Again, I really enjoyed this episode, seeing the more of the Jordan, embracing his destiny into helping people and embracing his higher calling, and to see, we all know that Jonathan is going to be in the Superboy costume at some point. I don't know really, like, will Clark be gone for a while, and like he has to start taking XK to help Jordan? I don't know. Also, when I checked IMDb, it said episode 9, episode 9 looked like it was the last episode of the season. I know that's not true. In season 1 we got 15 episodes, so I don't think it's going to be the last episode next week. But, like, why did IMDb only hit a certain point? I don't know. Let me know down in the comments below why IMDb only went up to 9 episodes and it's not showing that it's going up. I don't know if it just reloads every week to more and more episodes that are going to be happening. I don't know. I feel like we are going to get 15 episodes. It'd be weird if we got 15 in the first season and only 9 in the second season. So I feel like it would have gotten 15 as well, if not maybe more. Sometimes series get a certain amount of episodes, and then when the series does very well, then that's when the season gets renewed, that they call for more episodes. So it could get more than 15. I don't know. Let me know down in the comments below if you guys know that. And again, if you're new to the channel, subscribe to the channel, put on those notifications, like this video. I would love to have you guys here, a part of the fam, part of the channel. We're all about spreading love, positivity, and motivation. And guys, we are almost at 500 subscribers. I keep saying this. Literally, we're almost there. Right now, we're at 469. We're literally almost there to 500 subscribers. That is my goal. I really want to open the community tab so I can start gathering so we can start, we can start, scheduling events. Like, I would really like to start doing every Friday Instagram lives where you guys come in, we talk about a topic. It could be any topic, and we just, I get to meet you guys face to face, and I can have you guys come into my Instagram live, and I get to meet some of you guys. That is what I really want to do here on the channel. Like, I really want to open this channel more so I can talk to you guys more and really get to, like, and to see what you guys want to see, like, and really get to ask you guys and really get to know what you guys want to see here on the channel. And also, if you're new here, we have a lot of things coming up this year in general, with a lot of shows and movies coming out. So if you guys are interested in that, again, subscribe to the channel, put on those notifications, and like this video so you guys don't miss any future videos. But guys, that was a video. I hope everybody has a great day, a safe day, and I'll see you guys next Tuesday for probably the greatest episode of Superman and Lois that I'm really, really looking forward to. But guys, that was a video. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.